Hey everybody, welcome back to episode number 6. We are more than halfway through with our Introduction to Premiere Pro course, and if you've been with me this whole time, I couldn't be more proud that you're still here and that you're sticking with it, because it is kind of a big journey to learn something new in general, and something as challenging as Premiere Pro is something I think we should recognize and just kind of pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, great job. You're learning something new. This is a new platform. This is new software, and I'm throwing like a ton of information at you. And I'm doing it as best I can in these little 10 to 15 minute chunks as we kind of step our way through the post-production process. And we're going to pick it up again right where we left off. In episode number 5, we kind of worked on J cuts, L cuts. We took our rough cut, we tightened it up. We looked at how we're going to kind of stylize it, what we want to do with music, what we want to do with sound effects, and kind of came up with an idea for how this thing should feel as a scene. So let's watch it again. We're now in a position where we can start looking at the level of the sound that we have. So within the interface here, within Premiere, you can go where your source monitor is, and you'll see audio clip mixer and audio track mixer. If you don't see those, go up to here where it says window, click on it. You'll see this big drop down open up, and all of these that you see are additional tiles that you can actually add to Premiere Pro. The first one here is the audio clip mixer, and just as it says, the adjustments that you do here within the clip mixer are only going to impact the individual clip that is highlighted or selected. The second one is the audio track mixer. It's very similar to the audio clip mixer, except the adjustments that you make happen to the entire track. So depending on how you edit, maybe you're going to prefer to use one of these tools instead of the other. My preference is usually the audio track mixer, and I like the audio track mixer because I organize my audio into channels. If I do an interview with 3 different people, interview subject 1 is going to be in channel 1. Interview subject 2 is going to be in channel 2. Interview subject 3 is going to be in channel 3. I might put sound effects in channel 4 and 5, and then I'll do music in 7 and 8. And I will have those channels assigned that way because I know if I need to do something, let's say interview subject 1 has hum on their microphone. I don't want to have to go individually clip to clip to clip to clip to adjust that hum out of their audio. I can go up here to my audio track mixer. I can pick which channel I want to add the effect to. So let's just say it is hum. I can hit this tab, open up these effects. I can go down to noise reduction and restoration, and I can click de-hum. And then right here, I can pick the hertz or the frequency that I want to kind of correct out of that, and it'll apply to the entire channel instead of having to go one at a time. Because I'm putting this class on YouTube, I'm going to use YouTube Studio to find music and sound effects. So if you have a YouTube account, navigate to that. And within YouTube Studio, they have an audio library, and they have a tab for music, and they have a tab for sound effects. And you can search, right? There are different filters here that you can open up. And there's actually a search feature in here so you can look for the stuff that you want to find. The only thing I'll note when using music from YouTube Studio's audio library is over here under license type. They typically have little notes based on how and when you can use this stuff. Sometimes they're going to want a credit, sometimes they don't want any credit. It just kind of depends. So if you find a song that you want to use for your edit, make sure you look at the license type. Make sure it's Creative Commons 0 or no attribution is required, or it just kind of gives you full permission to use it. If you find one that says you can use this song but give me an attribution, just make sure whatever they have as that attribution is what you put, because those things do get very specific. So we're going to go ahead and look. I'm just going to search coffee. It's a video about coffee, so why not? Let's see what we have. I'm just going to go with Mas Cafe, and no attribution is required. I'm going to go ahead and download it. Now, just like we learned in class number 1, we want to save this song that we're downloading in the same place that we have all of our media for this project. So I'm going to navigate to my external hard drive. I'm going to navigate to the actual edit that I'm working on, and I'm going to either create a new folder, call it music, or I'm just going to save directly to the parent folder. Either one is fine. I like to create more organization. I prefer more to less folders, so I'm going to make one for music, and I'm going to save this track there. Perfect. Let's check out sound effects. Let's see what we have. So I know that there's a moment when I turn on the faucet, and because I shot it in slow-mo, I don't actually have that sound recorded. So I'm going to see water glass filling up. Perfect. And that's great. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to download that sound. Water filling from faucet. Perfect. All right, now that I've downloaded that and I've put those elements on my external hard drive, I'm going to open Premiere Pro back up. I'm going to open up Finder. I'm going to navigate to my external hard drive. I'm going to navigate to the parent folder where my project lives. I'm going to find the folder I just created. And just like how I have them labeled here on the Finder side, I have the same labeled folder over here within Premiere Pro. So I'm going to drag these two new things that I just downloaded, and I'm going to drop them into that folder. Boom. There they are. And now I know, just because that was the idea I had, that once I hit this slow motion scene, that's when I want my music to start. So I'm going to drag the whole thing. I'm just going to drop it down there. And there it is. Let's zoom in. And where this peak starts, the first beat of the music, I want that where the shot starts. So about there. Perfect. And I'm going to also bring in that sound effect, because this is that water faucet being turned on that I don't have sound for, that I know I want some sound for. So I'm going to bring that down as well. The first thing I notice is my sound isn't quite slow enough, and it also ends a little sooner. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clip out this tail end of it, because this piece right here kind of sounds like the water is splashing in. I'm going to save it. I'm still going to use it, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to slow these pieces down to 70%. And now I'm going to take this piece that I trimmed off, and I'm going to drag it forward. And what I'm doing here is I'm slightly covering up this piece of audio here so that they kind of butt up against each other, but I'm doing it on purpose. So I'm going to add an audio fade on top of this transition right here. And the reason why I'm doing a fade this way is because it's going to continue to pull the sound from this clip into this one, while at the same time it's going to be pulling a little bit from this clip onto that one, and it's going to blend them together. So both of these sounds, the faucet turning on and running and the water kind of dribbling, are sounds that I want. I just want them closer, blended, and slower. So that's what I did. I slowed them down to 70%. I brought the two sounds closer to each other, and then I put a constant fade, or a constant power fade, on top of it. So let's see what that does for us. All right, that does a little bit more. It's a little bit better. And now what I want to look at really quick before we finish this class up is, how do I make my song shorter? What can I do to actually make this end where I want it to end? And the good news is, if you pick a song that's kind of loopy, where it has the same kind of measures on repeat, that's actually really easy to do. So I know I want the tail end of this song because I want to have the outro stinger for it. So I'm going to just trim off the end, and I'm going to drag it all the way up here to where I want to actually end the song at. I'm going to hit my razor tool. I'm going to get rid of all of this that I don't want, delete, and now I have the beginning of the song and the end of the song, and all of the potatoes in the middle are cut out. What I'm going to do from here is look for a moment in the beginning of the song that has a similar beat to the end of the song, and I'm going to put them together much in the same way that I just did with the sound effect. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. When I do this particular step, I don't want to have the distraction of my sound effects and stuff like that in there. So because I have these tracks on channels 3 and 4, I'm actually going to just solo these tracks so that I'm not hearing any of this stuff. All right, so this is just our starting place. Obviously, it's not perfect. What I'm going to do is look for points in this waveform that match points in this waveform, and I'm going to try to match them up. So right here, just looking at it by eye, it kind of has 1, 2, 3, 4 little shark teeth. And that has the same kind of pattern right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, little shark teeth. So my guess is this beat and this beat are the same because their waveforms look the same. So I'm going to drop my play head at the first little peak, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to grab this peak, and I'm going to drag it over to my play head. And now what I have, try to line these peaks up. So now these moments, these beats are all happening on top of each other. I'm going to put them right next to each other on the same channel. I'm going to make sure I have them at the same level, which is about -10. Let's give it a listen. All right, so it's not perfect, but again, we just cut out like 1.5 minutes from the song. We've got, you know, 10 seconds on the beginning and 10 seconds on the end, and we're kind of smashing them together to make our own music bed. And that's fine, that works. Like, we can get away with doing that. We can especially get away with doing that if we have sound effects, right? So if we were to put some sort of sound effect here underneath that, so the coffee cup. So that'd be a great one. The coffee cup setting down, if we could figure out a way to adjust this cut underneath a sound effect, it'll only help hide it a little bit better and help that kind of energy continue to move shot to shot, right? Because our whole goal as editors, we don't want people to see or hear or feel our edits. We kind of want everything to feel like it doesn't stop, like a train on the tracks, you know, heading to its next station. So that's it for this class. That's what I want you to do now for homework, is work on your sound effects, work on your music, work on your J cuts, work on your L cuts, really have fun with it, because this is where you can kind of start fleshing out that final piece. What's the final vibe or motif that you're going for? And whatever song you pick is really going to impact that. Like a happy, upbeat song is going to make people feel happy and upbeat. And, you know, a very fast-paced electronic song is going to give people a lot of energy. So you have to think about what you want people to take away from the scene and kind of find the music and sound effects that lend itself to that story. In future classes, we're going to be talking about color. We're going to be talking about how we add titles and how we add graphics. We're going to be kind of doing our finished edit as a whole, and then we're going to look at some other little bonus tips and tricks, all right? So I look forward to seeing you in the next one.